You know, in procurement, it is so easy to get laser focused on just one thing, that final price tag. But what if I told you the best in the business, the real pros, look way beyond that? In this explainer, we're going to dive into the huge difference between price analysis and cost analysis. And I'll show you how mastering that second one can totally change your game. We have all been there. You get a few quotes back, and one of them is way, way lower than the others. And it feels like an easy win, right? A no-brainer. But here's the question we really need to be asking ourselves. Is that low price a genuine bargain, or is it a hidden trap just waiting to spring on us, hiding problems with quality, service, or even the supplier's stability? And this really shows the two different mindsets perfectly. On one hand, you've got price analysis. This is what most people do. You line up the quotes, you pick the lowest number. It's simple, sure, but it's also reactive. On the other hand, you've got cost analysis. Now, this is what the top leaders do. They don't just see that final number, they dig in. They explore all the cost components to understand the why behind that number. It's proactive, it's strategic, and honestly, it's where the real power is. I want you to think about it like this. Price is simply what you pay. It's the number on the invoice. But cost, well, cost is what it's truly worth. It's the sum of all its parts. Getting this difference is the fundamental shift you have to make to go from just buying stuff to being a strategic sourcing professional. So you might be asking, how do we actually do a cost analysis? Well, the main tool we use is something called a should-cost model. Don't let the name scare you off. It's really just a breakdown, think of it like a recipe, of all the ingredients that make up your supplier's final price. We're talking materials, labor, overhead, and yep, even their profit margin. And what's so cool here is how it makes that whole concept visual. Instead of one big mysterious price, you're looking at its DNA. You can see, okay, 40% is raw materials, 30% is labor, and so on. All of a sudden, that price isn't just a number anymore, it's a story. And once you can read that story, you can start asking some really smart questions. So here's the key takeaway. Once you've broken down all those components, you can pinpoint the cost drivers. And what are those? They're just the specific things that push each part of the cost up or down. Is it the global price of steel? Is it local labor rates? By understanding these levers, you gain some incredible leverage in your negotiations. Theory is great and all, but let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to look at a case where a procurement team was staring down what they felt was a really inflated proposal from one of their key suppliers. And they didn't just roll over and accept it, they challenged it. All right, so here's the starting line. The supplier walks in and puts a proposal on the table for $1.2 million. A huge number. The team's gut feeling was that this was just too high. But a gut feeling, well, that's not going to cut it in a negotiation, right? They needed cold, hard data. And this is what they brought to the table. Not emotion, not arguments, but solid evidence. They had market benchmarking data that showed what other people were paying. They built their own detailed should-cost model, just like we've been talking about. And this is so important, they clearly documented all their assumptions, which made their entire argument transparent and totally defensible. And the result? By presenting their data-driven case, they negotiated that price all the way down to $950,000. That is $250,000 in savings. And get this, it wasn't achieved by bullying or just demanding discounts. It was done through a calm, factual conversation based on a shared understanding of the actual costs. And this quote from the research summary just nails it. This whole approach isn't about squeezing your suppliers for every last penny. When you do it right, cost analysis leads to fair, transparent pricing that gives you sustainable savings and actually makes the supplier relationship stronger because both of you are working from a place of fact. Okay, so you've seen the why. Now let's get into the how. Here's a simple 3-step action plan you can literally start using today. First up, collect your market data. Get smart on raw material prices, what labor rates are, what competitors are paying, all of it. Step 2, map out those cost drivers. Figure out which of those variables has the biggest impact on the final price. And third, document your assumptions. Write down why you believe the labor rate is X or the material cost is Y. This builds a rock-solid foundation for any conversation you're going to have. So, what's the big takeaway here? Moving from price analysis to cost analysis is the leap you take from being a simple buyer to becoming a true strategic sourcing professional. It's about changing the conversation from "what's your price" to "let's understand the cost together." And if you're ready to take that step, we want to help. Just comment "should cost" below, and we'll send you a template to get you started on building your very own model.